Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's tree is going to be the tree of fortune, or the tree of prosperity, the tree of luck. Last month we made the tree of love, and so this month we'll make the tree of luck. I'm going to use one of my spools of 28 gauge wire. It's a 6-inch spool with 33 feet of total wire on it. I've got 18 inches of 16 gauge round soft copper wire, and you can substitute with 18 gauge, and you can also substitute with square in either gauge. And I've got a little bag of mixed chip beads. This is about 17 grams right here, and it's a mix of peridot beads and I have green apatite in here, maybe some green emeralds even. Anyway, they range between 2 and 4 millimeter, and they're all drilled. They all have a hole in them. Okay, so we'll put the tree sculpting stuff aside and we'll look at our frame. I'm going to start at the end with a round nose plier, and I'm just going to take it in the larger part of my plier. Just be careful for the length, it's pretty long. And I'm going to start a nice spiral. It doesn't have to be perfect, you can make it pretty. It's thick wire if you're using the same gauge that I'm using. So just take your time with it. Get a few turns on it. And then if you can get it with your hands the rest of the way, do that. Ooh, it's big wire. I'm just going to brace it right here. I'm going to grip it right here and turn it a little more in. Okay. You can just turn it between your finger and your thumb. It is a little bigger, so it'll resist. And I'm going to make a little spiral. It's about 1 inch in diameter. So what is that? 1, 2, 3 big turns. And that's about 1 inch in diameter. So let's make it 3.5 turns and come back. Whoop. Now I'm not looking at it, I'm looking at the camera. And come back into this direction. You've got a slight upward slant, and the remaining length is probably 12 inches. So out of your 16 inches, this is 6 of it, and then from here to here is 12 inches that we have left. Okay, so you'll hold this spiral so that it's kind of like a number 6, and we'll get a center line on it. It's about 1 inch from here to here, so 2 inches from here to here. And I'll get my round nose plier. I'm just going to turn this upside down. I'm going to go about midway into the plier. Let me go down a little lower, I got too high. It's about 1 inch. And I'm going to turn it over itself, just like that. So it's like we've made a little number 6. I'll turn it to the side here. I'll turn it to the side, get it with a flat nose plier, just at its very tip here. So I've got about 4 or 5 millimeter in there. If you need to close it down a bit, just be real careful, real controlled, and then grab just the tip of it, hold real tight, because this is 16 gauge, so it'll resist you. And just make a nice elegant swing out in this direction, just like that. So it's kind of like that. And with this one, just hold it right here at its curve. curve it around a little bit. Let's just leave it kind of like that for now. You can hammer this if you want to, and I'm going to. Get my bench block out. We have a lot of wind here today, so you might hear some stuff in the background. So I'll just hammer lightly here to kind of flare it a little bit, and then over here on the curve to flare it a little bit and harden the wire a little bit. Just be real careful about your hammering. Get everything under control. You don't have to do this at all. I let it bounce a little bit more than you should. Okay, so turn it to this side. I've got a nice little flare. I'm going to just tap it a little bit here and blend the metal from here to here. I'll just hammer this bit. Taper it down. So I'm going to make a little peak down here too. So just, you kind of center there like this. Okay, that's cute. You can sand all that if you want to. You don't have to because we're going to put a tree over it. All right? Okay. So take it this way. Up here, just going to grab it and turn it slightly in the other direction. I like that better. So it's not too slanted. You can do yours however you like. Okay, so I'm going to set my tree on this guy, and then we'll use the remaining length here and flip it over and cover all the ends. So this is the front of my frame. I'm going to call it the front. And I'm going to place my tree in here. And then I'll wrap all of the wire ends back up to this front side. It sounds counterintuitive, but we're going to cover it. All those little ends. Okay, so let's set the frame down for a second. The frame is a total of 2 inches long, like I said, from the tip to right here. So once we add the tip down here, it'll be about 2 1/4. So, and it's 1 1/4 inch wide, just so you know how much we're dealing with. And now let's make a nice tree. So I've got my 33 feet here on my cardboard, and I've talked about how to spool these up before. I just make my own cardboard of 6 inches, and I cut these little flips in it, and I use my 28 gauge spool. I anchor a wire, and then I spool around 33 times, and then I anchor the other one. I just do this so that I can I make a bunch of these, and then I have them on the side there whenever I want to make a tree. I don't have to do this again. I just have them ready. All right, so to cut this off of here, we're going to hold everything with our thumb. Get up here close to the top where you're going to cut. Release any trapped wire that you might have. Get your fingers on all the strands back here, all the strands up here. Get a nice sharp trusted cutter and put the blades up, and then just whittle underneath. Ooh, this one's not very sharp. Ooh, I'm going to have to get a different one. Hold on, emergency. I have a bunch of these. Okay, so blades up, and then just sneak underneath here and start snipping. There, that should cut like butter like that. Just like that. Make sure you get all the strands, right? Don't try to pull this off unless you're sure you got them all. Okay, so now we'll just all together stay calm. Pull the entire top of it off. Disconnect it from the cardboard. Hold on to it here. Keep a hold of it. And just kind of straighten it out here to the middle. Whew. Okay, this is the center. So hold both strands kind of like hair between your fingers there like that, like a strand of hair. And you'll take your cutter, come straight through all of them. Might take a couple of different snips. Make sure you cut all the way through. And then while you have them here in your fingers, snip these tips off. You know, you can take just the tiniest bit, point them all down into your trash. Put your blade, cutter towards the ends and then snip them all down. They're all going to fall that way. So into the trash is best. Once you get the one side snipped, just keep a hold of everything, just like hair. I've got 2 strands here. Ooh. And I'm going to get the second one. And I'm going to cut these tips. And then you'll turn around in your hands, keep them separate. And then do the same on the opposite side. Take just the slightest, take all those curly little tips off. So now you have nice, straight, clean ends to work with, and they'll work easier for you. So just keep them separate, just like you're working braids. And I'm going to crisscross them right here in the middle. And I'm going to be about a 60-40 split, so not quite in the middle. 40 is on the bottom and about 60 on top, not quite 50-50. And I'm going to hold them here at the middle, and I'm going to get a really big twist going once with my left hand, and a nice big twist going once with my right hand. So I've got them locked together here. Just like that. I'm still on my short side is down here. Just make sure you keep track of which is the long side, which is the short side. They're slight, but the shorter side are the roots to the bottom of the tree. So down here to the roots, I'm going to hold my trunk in the middle, and I'm going to kind of unravel a little bit. Okay, just unravel that turn you made there a little bit. Keep that weird little bend. Part these two and get one nice solid turn, maybe 2, just about 3 or 4 millimeters, all that is there. Part these 2. They don't have to be parted 50-50. Roots can be whatever. So just get a nice part and get a nice big twist. Okay, kind of bring them back together now. So loose twist there, a little loose here. Bring these 2 back together. But don't make them too tight. Kind of, touch them right here and kind of make them a little open. Like that a little bit. See? Okay. I kind of mushed my 2 halves up again, but that's okay. You just want kind of 4 halves on each side, 4 little bits on each side. And then you can take these, give it a nice twist, something nice and tight to this one more time. Okay? These are the roots, remember. So we'll part this one, twist it down all the way. Just like that. You should have like a nice little bump out in the middle there. So we'll part this one, put those aside. Just don't lose your cute design. You can twist these down, all the way down. Keep them all together. Over here you can do the same, part these 2. Just keep going. If you want to part them again, you can. If you just want an extra little layer. For this design, we don't need that. Our interest is right here. Whoop! I didn't mean to do that yet. Keep them parted. It kind of like snuck in there ahead of me. I mean to do that, but not yet. Okay, so, and then this last one, just twist them together all the way down. Okay, so you kind of got like this. Hold on to that little bit. Don't let it escape. It wants to untwist until we get it more together. Okay, so take these two, or whatever looks attractive. Okay, so we still have our nice little design here in the middle. We've got our 4 roots right here. And remember, we're always trying to stay within our frame. So you don't want to get too carried away. We're kind of going like this with it, and our roots should be living right about there. The belly of the tree is just below the spiral head, so you have some room for branches and such up here, right? Okay, so don't go too nuts. So just crisscross these in such a way, kind of twine them back together so that they are interesting. You can even make a nice braid if you want to. I don't think I'm going to have enough room to make a braid. So I'm going to bring these 2 center ones together. Just trying to make some interest in the roots. So I'm going to make them a little bit shorter. Just going to kind of bring this one up a little bit. Do the same to this one. Just kind of turn it up a little bit. Just like that. Kind of like sitting Buddha style. So that you have a little base there that is a little thicker. This is going to be an upright tree. You can make your tree however you want. Okay, so just kind of like that. I've got 4 nice roots kind of pointing to the bottom here. And I've got some nice interest here in the bottom of my tree. Okay, so your focus is right here. Just bring your frame back up. There's going to be a little V bump right here, so just get the little roots so that they kind of live in that V bump. And I'll go ahead and make it so that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so find your center. Grip it right here. Bend this up like this, okay? Bend it totally up so it's just a little bit bumped out. Grab it right here. Hold real tight and just turn a nice little bump out, kind of like that. And then get the curve on. This is actually going to come back up over this frame, so don't do it right now. Your focus is to get this little bump kind of center down here and a slight curve going this way just so you can see what you're doing there. Okay, so it'll kind of meet and then recover. So we'll put the little tree, our little tree roots, kind of go in that little point like that. It's kind of like it's sitting in there, okay? Just like that. I'll show it to you from the back so you can see. It's kind of just like that in that little point. Those roots we're going to, trim out. Okay? Just like that. Okay, so now I like everything the way it is. So go ahead and make your bend so that you can position yours. And now as we build the branches up, what you want to make sure of is that you stay within the open space of this frame. So the tip of the tree, and I'm probably a little bit too tall even, I'm going to have to shrink this middle section slightly. But we want to have a branch section that kind of comes out just slightly lower than where I am. So I'm going to unravel one now that I've got all of this twisted up. And I'm going to take a branch out to here. I'll take a branch out right to about where it's at. I'll have a top one, and then I'll have one here, kind of off this way, and then just one like this. So 5 of them. Okay? So I've got my tree. I'm a little bit tall, so I'm going to hold it here at the waist. I like all my bottom design. Hold everything steady, and I'm going to just unwrap one full time. just like that. And it's okay because it'll make some little interesting arms in your tree. Okay, so don't be afraid to do that. Just don't let anything below it unravel. Remember, we had 3 big twists, one in the middle, one with the left, and one with the right. So we had a nice tie. Sometimes you have to do that and then undo them to make them fit. So I've got 2 of them, and on this left one, I'm holding all the center here. I'm going to just follow your branches here, your little, I'll call it tree bark. And I'm not taking half, I'm taking about 1/3 of this stack. And I'm just going to bend it off here to the left. Okay, just like that. I'm going to take about the same over here to the right, and I might go up slightly, about 1/3 or so, and peel it off just like that. I'll hold it real steady here at the trunk and twist them both together one more, kind of back together there. Just lock them back together like that. Okay. I'm going to come up here and make sure that I'm in my frame. That looks nice. I'm going to have a branch going this way, a branch here, a branch up here, and like that. So I might actually give it a little bit more to this one and make this a little bigger branch just so they don't look so symmetrical. So I did split this one about 50-50 to the right. Okay. And this one, I'm going to split this one up about 50-50. I'm going to give it one more twist, a real shallow twist. Shallow and tight. Okay. Now I'm going to split this side about 50-50. It doesn't have to be exact. You can do yours however. It's going to turn out the way it turns out for you. Okay, so there's one branch there. And then this one's going to become part of the center. So I need another branch over here. I'm going to make a little one. I'm going to take this and I'm going to take about, I twisted them, so this is my thicker one. So I'm going to take, I don't know, maybe about 40% of it and leave it right there. Then I'm going to bring this one back into the center. Maybe I'll leave a little bit more over here actually. So maybe it will be 50-50 split. And then I'm going to merge these 2 back together to make one in the middle here. Okay, just keep control of your branches. Get these 2 and twist them real tight together there once, real tight twice. So you kind of got 5 tree branches here, straight up. And we'll make sure that they all fit into our frame. My roots are on the point, and I like where my branches are living. They're all going to fit nicely. I could even go up a smidge. Okay, so something like that. Alright, so as we work, let's not let anything unravel on us. You want to keep facing the same direction in the tree. So even if I turn it upside down, I'm not turning it over. Okay, so we want to keep all of our twists going the same direction. So I'm going to turn it this way. And if I was, doing my twists forward, then I would keep them forward. You just don't want to unravel, so I don't know which way yours is. I've got a little bit of fraying right here. I'm just going to put my thumb on everything else to protect it. Separate these 2 a little bit and just try to get the strands out of them if this is happening to you. If not, just split this one in half and give it a couple of nice tight turns there to make a branch come out, however yours work out. So I've got a nice little branch right there. And still working on this one here. I keep my segments all. Just watch your segments here. If you need to put a little tape or something, do that. But I usually just try to keep control. You can bend them. I don't know if you can see, but you can go 45 also and just kind of get them out of your way, but not mush them all back together. Okay, so you can work this one. All right, so I'll split this about in half and do some twisting. Just a couple of times until you like it. Do the same over here. I'll split it in half as close as I can, or however you like to split them. Do some real close twisting right in here. Remember, you can turn your tree in your hands however you need to get a nice twist on that. I'm trying to stay forward in the camera for you, so I'm a little bit odd. Okay, so I'll put my, let me go back in the other direction so we don't lose what we're doing. Turn this way and I'm going to position my little tree right back there. My branches fall into my frame. My frame is the last hammered bit. This other wire is going to come over the top. And I can add a wire if I need to, so I'm not panicking about it. But just make sure that you're splitting your branches within the frame so you have, keeping all the interest inside the frame. And then we are going to bead this one too, so you can make sure that you have interesting parts that will actually show, that won't all be covered up by beads. You don't have to bead it if you don't want to. All right? You can just turn all the branches out. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm just going to twist these to the ends here so that it's easier to tie around the frame if you have all these little wires become one big cable for you. Okay, so just like that. And I like to just get out past the frame an inch or so that to make sure that I've got plenty to wrap. And you can snip all the fray off. Make sure you got a nice, I've got probably an inch or two here. I mean, a couple of inches here, just in case I need to make changes or whatever. But I've got now one solid cable. You can split these to your liking. I'm just going to do these two over here because that's the end of my frame is close over here. Just keep holding and moving keep your fingers all close together. It helps you to twist up this branch. Now when you get enough distance, you can just snip the ends off. Keep them out of your way. So that's one. Just keep it like that. And now there's 5 main branches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here goes this one. I'm going to split it. And I'll put a couple of nice little turns on it and make the thick part of the branch come up. Got my frame close to me so I can check, make sure I'm staying within interest. So I'll split them one more time and then it'll be good. Okay. So same as the last one. Split them and get nice and deep within the branch and turn them. And I scooch my fingers up so it's easier. Okay, when I get the distance that I want, I'm just going to snip it off and leave myself, oh, I got a little bit short, but it's okay. Leave myself a couple inches there. I'll do this one. This is the other half of branch number 2. And if you wanted to split them again, you know, you could. You don't have to just do 2 and 2. I'm just doing 2 and 2 for now. I'm going to canopy this, so, and it gets narrow on this frame up here, so I'm not going to put too many beads. But you can do whatever you like. And you can blend the frames that we've been doing too. This is tree number 3. So you have 2 other tree frames, and you have also 2 other tree styles that you can, you know, blend all together now and start creating ones of, you know, different kinds of trees for you. Okay, so here I'll look again, put the point of my tree at the bottom, and I've got my branches within nice interest. So now I'll start down here. I'm just going to do this lower one, split it in half, get a nice tight turn in there, make a nice thick branch. And if you need to turn it 2 or 3 times, you know, it depends on your frame. So I think about there for me. Come down here and split this one. I'm just going to turn a couple of times and check myself where I'm at on the frame here. So I'm going to split them one more time here, moving towards the bottom. It's got room to kind of go this way. So I'll do one more split down here. Turn these 2. And I'll turn all the way out. You know, I could do another split if I wanted to, but I'll turn this one all the way out. Enough to turn around my frame, so a couple inches there that I can work with later. Just like that. And then I've got this one. So on branch number 3 down here, I've actually got 3 little part outs, right? I'm going to split this one, because you don't have to do them all 2 and 2 like this side. If you have more space on one side of your frame or whatever. I'll turn this one all the way out till I've got enough. Do a snip. Now I've got this one here. It's part of the same one. Still working that one branch. And I'm just going to take this one, instead of splitting it, I'm just going to turn one nice big thick branch into it. Turn it all the way out. And when I have enough, I'll just cut it. I give a lot of extra, it looks like it's a lot, but it's 1.5 inches. You kind of need that for just some room, and then if your frame's a little bigger than mine, this is why I have 6 inches is always good. It gives you enough to sculpt a nice tree, 2 inches, or a 2-inch frame. Okay, so 1 branch, 2 branch, 3 branch. Now I'm on branch 4, and this top one is branch 5. So I'm on branch 4. I'll split them. Make a nice thick portion, a couple of turns. Split them. Make a couple of turns. I'm going to check my frame because it narrows on the top. Okay, so I've got room here to, I'm going to turn this one all the way out and this one all the way out, and then I might split this one again. Okay. So this one I'll split and turn. Get enough, I'll cut the ends. Split and twist. Snip it. And this is still part of branch 4. So let me see where I am. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then I've got some room there, and I've still got room for this one. Okay, I can even turn these a little bit, which is fill up some space. That looks, I'm happy with that. All right, so I'll do this one. I'll split it, turn it once, whoop, and twice real close here at the base. Then I'll split them again. And then I'll turn them out. Just take your time. If your wrist starts to get sore or your shoulder, I tend to rise the one that's twisting here, the shoulder goes to my ear. I don't know why, but it does. And then after a while my shoulder gets sore. So just watch your posture. Make sure you're sitting comfortably and that you're not putting too much strain on your body. Okay, so here we'll turn this one. And just, love on your tree here. Take your time. Okay, that's good for that one. So there's branch number 4, branch number 3, and branches number 1 and 2. Okay, and then this one up here, branch number 5, and it looks like a lot because most of it's, isn't going to be there. These we're going to wrap and tie, but see, I've got my branches split within the frame so that I can see all of my interesting bits. And then the rest of it is just so I can wrap it. Okay, so now the last one going up top. Move these other ones kind of down and out of the way a little bit. And this is already split for me, so I might just go with it the way it is. Split once more here. Do 1, 2, maybe 3 big turns in the thicker of these 2. And this one I'll split. You just do yours however you like it. Might just do 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, so that I have a very uneven run to the top of the tree. Yeah, and then I'll just, that's it. I'll do those. I might do, I don't know that I'll split them anymore, but I might just do that. I'm going to put a little curve in this too. I don't want it so stick straight. I have it that way right now. So for these, I'm just going to split them. Turn them all the way up. Trim it when you have enough. Just keep everything neat. And I'll get these two here. See if it gets crunchy, just pull them as you're twisting them to keep them nice and straight. Just turn enough so that you can tie off to the top. And I got one more right here. And then we can go to the fun part of putting it all together. I love that part. I love the tree sculpting part too, so your tree can be anything, right? I Google sometimes for bonsai trees or acacia trees, real trees, and then you kind of just model them with your wire. So you have an endless supply of inspiration. You can also take a nice walk in your park and take pictures of your favorite trees and then come sculpt them into your jewelry. I do that a lot. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bend or something up here, make some little interesting, a little bit more than just a straight line. I want it pretty much a straight tree, but I just want a little turn in it. In these up here a little bit. Let me get my frame. You make yours however you like. Just make it cute. Move the little arms. Move the little branches around. Make sure all of your interesting bits can be seen. And then get your frame back on it. I'm going to start to try to tie these off. I really like that a lot. You can make yours curve a little bit if you want to. I might add just a little. That's kind of the fun part here. So I want to it's got the slightest little curve on it. And I like that. So I'm going to start at the roots down here. The frame, should stay just where you see them. Nice and steady, even spacing. I'm holding it all together, and the first thing I'm going to do is just start to wrap one of these legs. I'm going to wrap these legs around these big wires down here. Okay? And you want to make sure that your ends kind of end up in the front. I've got the tip of my tree right here at the tip of the frame. I'm just going to start with one of them. If the crunchies actually, if you snip the ends I forgot to snip the ends, no wonder I'm struggling. Make sure you have enough twists here that you can turn these over comfortably, but you can snip off these little troublesome ends. Okay? And remember, don't take your wrist across these shards. You'll undoubtedly get splinters. So take your cardboard and clean your desk off. Okay, so now, as one big cable, I'm going to take this through, hold my tree where I want it right here. I'm going to take this through, just work it carefully until you get one nice, it's 1.5. So there goes one. Then I'm going to bring my tree roots back to the front. Woo! You might need your plier. Okay, so I'm going to cut them so that they're up here on top. We only made 4 big roots, so it's a little bit hard to cut them. You know, cut them towards the inside so we can hide them. Put your finger over all these shards and then take your snip and then dump the shards. One nice clean snip there. All together, and then I'm just going to tap them down and just lay them right there, nice and carefully. We'll bring a wire over them. Okay, and just position your tree. I like to kind of do a root or two and then get a branch or two to make sure that the tree stays where I want it. So I got a root right there. I'm going to come up here and get one of these upper branches. So on number 4 here, my little number 4 cluster, I'm going to take a couple of these around so I can get it where I want it. Pull it a little bit tighter, but don't pull all your interest out. The frame still moves, so don't worry if you need to give a little flex. So I'm going to take it 1.5. I'm going to cut my wires up here. I think it's 1.5. I don't think that's 2 wraps. Okay, and I'm just going to tap them all forward right here on the flat of my frame. Just make sure that I got still some interest showing there. I'm going to go ahead and get this one down here. Just work around yours. Slant this one slightly down. Okay, let's cut more to the inside. So all of these little cuts, you know, favor the inside of the frame. That's pretty good. You don't need to make it super tight. We'll put some twisties in it for some interest in a minute. So we've got the right side kind of on there. I'll come over here and make sure your tree is positioned, and I'll get a branch or two on this side. Maybe I'll take it a little bit more to my left. I want it a little bit more to the left. It's going to be beautiful no matter what happens. And I'll just cut it there with a little slant, favoring the inside. And just however you can get your plier in there to tap those ends. Try to keep them all together. You should still have room to do a little turn. Put some interest back into the branches after we tie them on. Okay? I kind of leave this wire out here because it's coming back up. So just work yours how you can get it. Make it pretty. Nice snip. Little tap on those ends. Cuteness. And this one I'll do down here a little ways. If you wrap around 2 of these spirals, that's okay too. They don't have to be like perfect little wraps, you can do. So here's like 2. They don't have to be death grip tight either. And then I'll just end it here in the front because I'm going to put beads over that, right? So that's the other reason. I'm just going to tap all that down, nice and clean. I'll put this one just above it a little bit. Maybe I'll leave it a little loose and turn some little squiggles into the branches. Like that. Get a nice pat. Come back through and leave my cuts up here because I'm going to put beads over that. Favor the inside. And then just scrape them down. Kind of like that. Looks pretty good. And we'll do this one. Oop, it's a cutter. Cut it to favor the inside. Tap that down. Then get the 2 little ones. This is a little one. I'm just going to go one time because I'm putting beads over it. So it'll have some additional hold. This one too, so I don't have to get too bulky. Just get one good wrap, cut it up top, tap all these cuts right down on top of the frame. So cute. It's okay, I'll get control of that in a minute. I love it so far. Okay, and now my little top ones. And I might wait, let me see. Yeah, I think I'll part mine kind of one to this side and the others to the other side. Do yours however you think is nice. What you want to make sure of is that you leave at least a little bit up here because we have to get a chain through that, okay? So you'll bead probably up to about right here. So I want to leave my little parts. Oh, I keep grabbing the cutter. Make sure that your interest stays below where you intend to put the beads on. So I'm just going to pinch some little turns and such. And then I'll wrap these. favor the cut to the inside. A little tap. You know, you can even bring this one around like that if you want to, just to give it a little more depth. I might. I don't know if I have enough. Maybe. We'll see. Just control your strands. I do. I have just enough. Trim them there. Tap them down. Your bail has to stay above this one now, this little crossover if you do that. Okay. And I'll just wrap these two right about here. I'm just going to go once with that. Oh, maybe not. That's really cute. And now this one down here. Move it towards the inside, tap them, make sure you have a nice little interesting turn or something in it so it looks natural. Then one more, and then I'll tie off the rest of my roots. I have to get it down here like that. Up into the inside. You just want all your cuts living on that frame, on the top of that frame. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm gonna take this one and slip it underneath, just because that's the way mine's gonna look cute. And I'm gonna probably tie it more to the inside of that spiral so I'm not so thick on the outside. These tree roots are a big bunch of wire here, so just try to keep them together. I'm just going to make one solid turn into the front, and I'm going to tap it right there. Trim off, and I'm just going to turn these right over and bury to the inside here, so it won't feel that. Plus I'm going to cover them anyway. Plus I'm going to show you a little secret at the end of this. Yep, I am. Alright, so I'll move my roots a little bit closer here and make sure it's all pretty. And I got two more to be kind of decorative with. Just do whatever looks good on you. I think I'll go like that and spread them more to this side. Take one more through the inner spiral, like this. I don't know if it'll go back around one more time. See, I might just... Ooh, my bit's tight. Ooh, that's a lot of them. I'll probably have to cover that. This is how you get the ends, by the way. Let your plier help you. Twist them all up. Make the cleanest cut that you can make. Just right on top, right there. This is like one big knot. And I can tap it down. Don't stress. Just get the fragments. Make sure you don't have any frays. And then you're going to love the trick I show you later. Okay, that looks pretty cute. And then I'm going to get one more in here. Oof, I got one more big root. I know, I just did that and said don't do that. Get your cardboard. Okay. Try to keep this wire, this extra frame wire, more towards the front. And it's okay. Okay, so I've got one more root. I'm going to just try to make sure it's cute. I'm going to get my nylon jaws. I'm going to start to squeeze on these a little bit. Just do very controlled tapping right here to make sure that these roots are settled. It might pop some frays out. That's okay. Just make sure your tree is something that you love. Then you figure out where to end this last one that makes sense. And I might take it, I need to twist it up some more because it's a little bit getting untwisted. Okay, and I might just take it over there like that. Yeah, I might just do like that. Bring it back through here. Get all the fraying under control and cut it and tap it right there. Maybe into that space. You'll find a place for yours. Just going to give a nice tap with my metal plier. Make sure it's all nice and down. Got a nice control. Okay, and I just got them right there. That's okay, because I can cover that. Okay, so that looks pretty cute. We'll add some beads after we get the second layer of this frame over. You want to do that so that you know, the beads don't interfere with this wire. Okay, so I'm just going to trace my frame with this one, just making sure that this wire covers up all the ends that we just put into the other wire. And at this bump out, I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to come here. You can make it taller or you can make it the same. I just kind of make sure that my wire is right there. I just go a little bigger with my finger. Just hold it right there and let it come over. If you need to take a plier, you can do that. Just kind of try to trace that first curve. You know, stay side by side. If you need to take your plier and give a little turn, you can. You're trying to just basically echo that turn while you're keeping this frame as much over that as you can. Towards the top, they're going to come more like side by side. Okay? And then you'll just turn it onto the front. Shape it the best that you can. Make it elegant. Just hold the tips together here, see? If you need to make it a little more narrow, get your wide pliers and gentle tapping. Don't make it so narrow that you can't, you know, you can't get side by side at least here. Side by side or over the top, whatever you can do. Sweep over the exposed, you know, cuts, and then use your fingers, hold everything together. Just try to echo this curve. Come over those those cuts. So it's kind of like two wires on top of each other, right? Just like we did in the other ones. And then down here at your roots, where your pointy one was, just make a nice elegant slope. And if you need to tie a little something to help up here temporarily, you can. Get a little scrap piece of your 28 or something. Just to help you. I'm just going to do this as a temporary. Just make a couple of little wraps with some scrap just to hold that top together so you can work this bottom. Okay, so my frame should be looking like this. Covered cuts, elegant up here and kind of side by side, or one a little bit taller than the other. Elegant slope coming down here. You can even flare out a little bit if you want to. I might. This is kind of big wire, so you just use your hands to help you. So we'll cover all that with beads so you can come out to the outside of it a little bit. I like it. And down here, when you like it, at the bottom point, kind of where your first point was, just hold it, find your center. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make it cute. Right about here, center bottom tree. Turn it completely up, right? Hold it right here. Make a nice little cute curve. Come to the left. So you got a nice little bottom point here. It's like an eye. And then with this one, you can come back and cover up some of those roots we left in the front. So I'll hold it where I want it. It's getting a little shorter now, so it's a little thicker wire. So I'm just going to bring it back in this direction. Do a little pre-curve. This guy might turn on you. Just do yours to your liking. Gonna cut it off. I'm actually probably gonna bend it out and hammer it, so I'm gonna bring it forward a little bit. I'm gonna cut it to length. This is probably a 1 whole inch, maybe 1 1/4 inches. I'm gonna cut the tip to slant. Gonna take my jeweler's file. Right here is your hinge, so I'm going to bend it all the way forward. Don't change your beautiful curve. Just going to take that bit of roughness off this wire and good enough. I'm going to take it into the deeper part of my plier. Just going to kind of, turn it and work it up into the narrows. Till you like it. bend it back up here for a second and see if I love that. Yeah, I think I like that. I like where it's living. I like that some of my roots are covered up. I could even turn it in a little bit more if I wanted to. And I might. Going to probably. Just work yours until you love it. I'd turn this in a little bit more. To make my roots a little more covered up there. And if it's too long and you want to shorten it up, but you like this, you can flare a little bit more here to adjust the size, right? Just keep it elegant. Just deepen this curve a little bit. Just kind of like that. I'm going to hammer that. Bring it out slightly more. I'm going to turn this a little bit more like that. Okay, I think I like that. Yep. And once I hammer it, it'll lay on there nicely. Okay, so with all that, just gonna close that up slightly. I'm not quite level. Okay, that's better. Now I'm level. Okay, that's what I love. All right, so your options are to hammer, you know, this right here and this right here if you would like to. To hammer this, you kind of have to take it, you know, all the way out. You could if you wanted to, or you would have done that on the way up. So for just for sakes, I'm going to take this off of here, my temporary wire. Just help me get some leverage on that stuff I was doing below. Okay, so now I can hammer it. So you see here, I should have, if I wanted to, I would have done that one on the way up. I'm not going to do this one because I've got it attached right there. But I am going to do this because I have the opportunity to pull it forward from here. So easiest way to go is either up or to the right. I'm going to go up. So I'm at 90 degree here. I'm going to turn it upside down so I hammer the inside. Just hammering that curve a little bit. Hammer down that little spiral a little bit. And then put it all back together. So look from the top. Just bring it right back down. Right where it was. Hold it all up there. Just work it back down carefully. You might have to, you know, do a little bit of an adjustment right there to get it going again. So cute. And remember, we're going to tie it down here, so don't worry if you feel like it's flipped out a little bit. If you want to hammer some of this, you probably could real carefully take a bend out if you didn't tie your spiral on right there. I might just try it anyway. See if I can hammer any of it. Hopefully I don't ruin it. You don't have to do that. Just going to lay it back down. It's a little bit. You could also just sand all that. All right, I like it. The first thing I'm going to do is get this up here under control. So I need to make these two match up a little bit better. I'm going to take the turn on this, just the tip, and turn it a little closer in alignment with that one, you see. If you need to do yours like that, you can do that. And make sure that it's not too far up from the bar. See, I could take probably just a little bit of slope out of this. Make sure I'm covering my little cuts follow this down. That's nice. It sits nice. Everything's beautiful. Okay? It's okay if you're off a little bit because we're going to put beads, remember. So, okay, I like that. That's your frame and your tree. And now the rest is just, you know, some nice meditation as we add some beads. Okay, so I've got my little pile of beads on some felt right here. And if you haven't noticed already, even though I didn't braid my trunk because I'm kind of a little short, but I try to kind of make it look like it's a braid. But this is a money tree, right? So I gave it 5 branches, and there's specific reasons for this. And you can do yours however you'd like, but if you want to follow me, I'm going to very specifically put 5 leaves and 5 leaves and 5 leaves and 5 leaves and 7 leaves up here. So I'll have 27 little beads, and you can do more or less, whatever you please. But that will give me 27 little beads. Okay, so I'm going to tie them on with 28 gauge wire, and I'm going to start with probably, I don't know, 1.5 feet, well actually just a foot. I'm sorry, I'm going to start with about 12 inches, maybe 13. And I'll just anchor to the upper part of the frame. So it'll serve kind of 2 purposes. You're going to anchor your little tie wire for the beads, but you'll also give a couple of stitches to start holding this frame together. So I'm just going to wrap a couple times, 2 or 3 times around right there, both of them, and I'll come through one of them, the center of them I mean, just like that. Make sure the other side is good. So I'm going to put 7 up here at the top. So I'll select maybe a dark one. I kind of like to pick them for size. That fits my frame pretty good. And if the tip doesn't go through, you can just snip the top off. Sometimes it helps a little bit. Okay, so there goes one. I've got one big dark green one, and then I'm going to find 6 little peridot. So there's 2 of them. So I've got 3 on that one. I've got a dark one, and I've got 2 little peridot for 3 of them. And I'm going to dive through right here. Come from behind, give a couple of wraps over this frame wire. Just make it look really nice because it's on the top. You could even get it with just 1 stitch if you want. See, 1 is enough to hold it. Okay. And I'm going to come back through the middle of them because I still need some. I've only got a total of 3 little branches up, or 3 little leaves up here, so I want 4 more for 7. So I'm going to get on my other wire, and I'm going to get some tiny peridot. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll let them slide down. Just place them in a little cluster where I think they'll be attractive on my main branch up here. And it might be also that I, tie them 2 and 2 instead of 4, so I don't have a big run. So I've put 2 of them on. I'm going to come through the frame. Make sure my beads are seated and that they're not wobbling. I'm going to jump the frame and wrap right there to catch it. And then I want to add 2 more. So rather than come back through the frame on the outside, I'll come through the inside. Whoop. And I'll add 2 more. And you can do yours to your liking. I'm just going to make little clusters on the ends of each of my branches. So there's 2 more, and I can kind of place them more to the inside. I just like the placement better than running all 4 of them. So you just do yours to where you can get them and make them cute. Pet them so that they sit down. I like that. And I still have room for my chain, right? If I didn't, I would just put a big jump ring through there. So, you know, if you find yourself a little short, just get a jump ring up here and make that your go through for the chain. Okay, so I'll wrap a couple of times around this between them so I don't have to bring wire over the top. Catch those 2 beads. And then I might just go 1 or 2 more times just for making them secure. Okay, extra tie there. You saw that sit down a little bit. And this one also, I'll bring it up here and just do maybe 1 or 2 wraps around the frame. And in part, it's to help the wires below it, because remember that we have loose ends in there, and then they shift also, right? So if I tie in between and catch those little branches, then it helps them to stay in place as well and not slide up and down this frame. Okay, so I'm just making a couple of ties, and I've got a cute little green cluster at the top with 7 leaves or 7 beads. Okay, so cute. And I can travel this wire by going in between. So again, I can catch my branches. Just make sure your branches are where you want them. Those are where I want them, about right there. So instead of cutting this one off, I'm just going to come in between them. You'll have to go in and out. It's okay. And then from this side, get my branch where I want it. Jump in between them. I just want to go a little bit lower, so I'm going to go 1 more. Okay, and I'm going to put 5 of them here. So I'll pick between my dark ones and my light ones, 5 of them. I'm going to put 2 peridot and 1 green apatite on this one. And then I'll just find my way through the branches and through the frame to tie them on. And right here I'll get 2 more little peridot. These are so cute. And I'll dive onto those right there. And I'll work that little cluster into something cute. And it's okay if you come above the outside frame a little bit. That is interesting too. Plus it gives you the opportunity to kind of catch that frame with one more tie. Bring the beads a little closer to it. However yours works out. Don't make any weird stretches though. If you need to catch it, don't make a run from here to so that you can see it. Just one nice little tight catch, and then come from the bottom through the branches. So you're catching this inside wire also. And then you can make one more stitch if you need to on these beads right here. Just however yours works out. I like that. Alright, and so now here's my next little cluster is going to be down here. Okay. Oh my gosh, I like that so much. I'm going to spread those up a little bit. Just look at yours and just make it completely beautiful and something that you love. So I'll travel down by making some careful, neat coils. Or you could just start new wire if you need to, if you don't have enough or your tree's bigger. Okay, so now I'm inside the branches. And you don't have to do it exactly like mine. You can do your beads however you'd like. Alright, so I'm going to finish this beautiful tree now. So I've got one dark green crystal, and now I'll do 4 more light green peridot. I might just do them 2 at a time. Come back through between them. Make sure there's no slack in my wire. So my beads sit very nice. I'll put them kind of out here a little bit. And I am going to sneak one above the frame and catch it. But I'll do it with a 360 loop. I'm holding it real close so that I don't have any stretch wire. And then I'm going to go below it and back through to the inside to catch it. Ooh, I just broke one off of here. You got to pay attention to that. Okay, I'll have to replace that one. Okay. And I'll just use my extra little bits here of 28, or you can actually even switch up for texture. You can go to a different wire or a different size of wire if you want to. You can go to half round. You can do some texturing here. Why don't I grab a bit more of 28 and get another foot. And I'm just going to start to sew some of all of this together. So I'm going to anchor to the inside. I'm just going to hold that little bit there. And I'm going to make a few wraps into these roots to help hold them down, but also to anchor my wire. just go to the back and make sure you work into the space you want. And I've got some little frayed roots right here, so I'm just going to make a few stitches and see if I can calm them down. I'm also going to grab this frame wire, obviously on the outside, to hold it down. But first I'm going to just get my wire anchored. So I'll jump over here and make a few stitches. I've got some frays right in there. You want to make sure you're not leaving stretched wire anywhere, but do you see how I just kind of tapped all those right there? I could have done a cute little bead or some other kind of cute work like that there. I'm going to use that inch and grab a frame. So I'm just going to make a few interesting stitches. I could also be doing this with a whole different gauge wire, maybe weaving little vines and stuff into these roots. That'd be cute. So I'm just going to grab this frame wire with my 28 and I'll go back through the roots here to the front. You just do yours the way it suits your tree and your frame. Just be real mindful not to leave big stretch wire everywhere so that it looks unnatural. Just dove in there to kind of stitch down some more of those frays right there so that they don't ever come up. And yours might not exactly be like mine. Probably isn't. So you might not even need to do this, but you can do yours however you need to. I can even add a little cute little bead ball down here if I want to, just for decoration. Come back here and grab that, second frame to make sure I tie into it as well. Just making sure everything is cute. I'm going to jump to the back and get to the other side here so that I can tie some of this down. And I can get rid of this one. Make a few cute wraps there. Get rid of this one. And I just cut it so that I can tuck this edge. No one will ever feel it. Tuck that cut right there. these a little bit. Just make it cute. And I'll jump over here. You just want to make sure you don't pull, leave things that can pull out. So I jumped into the roots over there, and then I can get a nice tie on this one. I might flare it out just a little bit. Might be a cute place to put a little gemstone right in there. Since this is decorative, I might put more than just a little bit so it doesn't let go. And I'm also diving, back into the roots to tie it really onto the frame and not just making decorative wraps here. Periodically, sometimes you have to get a tiny little plier and awl in there and scooch wraps over so that it doesn't look unsightly. I'm just going to end it right here now. A couple of wraps around this one. I'll break it off to the back in between this little crevice. Okay. That is super darling. Oh, I love it. I hope you've enjoyed this. You can, do more. There shouldn't be anything back here that can scratch because all of our cut ends are underneath. Just go through and make sure that you got all your wires nice and tucked, that you don't have any little frays laying around like that one. Look through your tree. See if you can get a chain through that space. Let me see if I can pass my favorite chain through there. Here's my favorite 1mm ball chain. And I have just enough room to pass my closure, my jump ring, and there it is. Enjoy that. Oh, so pretty. If you wanted to, you could continue to embellish it by adding a moon to the back of it. That might be really pretty. Maybe we'll do that. We'll see here. We'll have to do some extra wire. You can't just plop the moon there, because then eventually it'll whittle away. But wouldn't that be cute too? A little full moon peeking out the top. I might work that out here. If you want to do that part, stay around. We'll do some more.